Hello, my name is Shirley Self, and I'm here to talk astrology. Well, the other night I was talking about Liz Cheney's horoscope. Liz Cheney is a up-and-coming power in the Republican Party, or was until recently when she started criticizing Donald Trump. And now she's taken an awful lot of flack. So anyway, I was thinking that, because she is an important part of the party, I was wondering what she was going to do and virtually what the party's going to do, because it is in a terrible bind, man. It's in a terrible bind. So I thought I'd bring up the Republican Party here. This red stuff around is the current progressions, but ignore that. I'll show you the progressions in a minute. Because I've done the progressions and the solar return. They're having a birthday. Their birth date is the 20th of March. So they'll be having a birthday coming up. And so I did the solar return. And the solar return virtually kind of lays out what happens during the year. And so that might give me some clues as to what's going to happen to the Republican Party. So the Republican Party's got an interesting history. It was started in Wisconsin by a bunch of people who needed to organize against the expansion of slavery into the new territories that the United States was occupying in the West. And you can see that in their horoscope. The South Node up here in the 8th and the 9th house, and the moon up there in Sagittarius, and that's the expansion into new or foreign territory, new territory. Notice the Mars over here. The Mars over here is critical of, Mars in Virgo just wants to fix things. And it's over here in the 6th house. Now, this is a solar chart, of course, but we're still talking about the sun, and it still teaches us a lot. It can't give us much about timing, but it can give us some about timing. But anyway, so in this solar chart, the Mars is in the 6th house, and it wants to cure what it feels is an illness of the country. And so, and its sun here is at the 29th degree. It's the last degree of the zodiac. I mean, this is what they call an anaretic degree. It is a very uncomfortable and kind of desperate, it can be, degree. And so that's the history of the Republican Party. They came out in favor of, and it's possible there's a great deal of business reasons for opposing the expansion of slavery into the West. So the Republican Party's always had this business bent. The South Node here is conjunct the Saturn in Taurus. Has they're valuable businesses. Saturn rules business. So that's the party itself. It is a 20. Now, let me show you this thing. Now, here's a moon phase 20. Now, it follows a 19. That's interesting because 19 is newly acquired power. And the power has come together. It's focused. And the job of 19 is to learn how to use this power. They don't know how to use it, so they do use it, and they use it a lot, and they abuse it a lot. And so 20 is kind of on cruise control because of this exercise in power. And this happens over here at 5, the power phase here, and 6, the one that follows. And so they take advantage of the fact that 5 and 19 were powerful figures and used their power out in the world. So what 6 and 20, like I say, they're kind of on cruise control. This comes to power. What their job is to find the limits of power. And that includes, for up here, these people have to be aware of, because these are the politicians. This is the air quarter. These are the politicians. And what they have to be aware of is the practical things, the practical world. And this includes morality. So, and that's their mask. They have to utilize the forces over here that they've already learned up here. They utilize those forces in order to be truly successful. So what we have with 6 and 20 is that they have to learn when to quit. They have to learn when they have gone too far. Hitler was a 20. And there's a grand example of going too far. Rudy Giuliani is a 6. And when you think of the heights of his heights of acclaim that he achieved, around 9/11, 9/11, and to see him now, it is to see, as Yeats put it, it's easy. It's so easy to achieve for them, 6 and 20, and the Republican Party, that it's easier for them to go too far, as he said, or as I was thinking, right through heaven and into hell. And that's where Rudy Giuliani is here now, and that is where the Republican Party is now. So I wanted to show you the progress chart for the Republican Party, and I have to rearrange my world in order to do that. Okay. This is a secondary progress chart for the birthday, 20th of March, 2021. And you notice the Saturn's in Gemini on the midheaven, and the North Node's up there conjunct Uranus, and we've got a Pluto over there on the cusp of the 9th house. And Pluto and Uranus are demanding a change in our belief system. They're demanding that we pay attention to the future. Sagittarius has an awful lot to do with the future, and so does Uranus. And Pluto has everything to do with the now. We're having our Pluto return, and are we noticing that or what? So the Republicans have progressed to a Virgo sun. It's right here, Virgo, led by Mercury. They've got things to consider. They've got things to decide. They've got to do some analysis. Virgo's about analysis. And the sun is recognizing illness. That's what Virgo's about. Notice that opposite that is Neptune right there, and it's opposite the sun and descendant. And so in this solar chart, we've got a Sun-Neptune opposition, and that's really a demand that the sun heals something that's really, really sick. It's capable of it. And it is demanded of the sun now, and the Mercury compassion. The compassion to do the work, Virgo rules work, that is necessary to heal. That Neptune, the Neptune over there in Pisces, talks about those who are suffering, who have lost, And so what it's asking the sun to do is to become more compassionate. It's to work in this direction, a direction of healing, a direction of repair, and care for those who are sick, who are poor. So, and the North Node in here, I want to point out, it's not conjunct Uranus. It's 9 degrees off. That's not a conjunction, but it's workable. It's workable. And so that, the Uranus, the Pluto, everything up there have to do with changing our values. And recognizing Uranus up there is in the Taurus is talking about humane values and valuing resources for the future. And Pluto is just demanding that you change everything. That you change everything. It's in opposition to the Mars. There's the Mars right down here. It's handy. He's in Scorpio too. That's a powerful Mars, and it rules the South Node right there. And so we've got a Mars-Pluto opposition, and that's a war for power. Now that's a problem with the Moon phase 20, is that they are used to having power. I mean, they used to having power, and now here in the progressions, they're having to fight for power. They're having to fight for power. Now, we are, Republicans are right now at a Moon phase 11. And as I explained when I talked about Liz Cheney, Moon phase 11 has got to eliminate out of authority and quit acting to others' will. And do what's right and do from your heart. Do from your power chakra where spirit resides. And so that's an 11. And that's what the Republicans have to do. That's what they are. Actually, the problem with the Moon phase 11 is the urge to power. They are one of the power rectangle, and they can feel it. They can feel it. But to use it out in the world without bringing it out of your heart, but to use it in a reflexive way, is it courts destruction. So let's see what else we had to say about. So anyway, we've got and Uranus talks about reform. Reform. You know, we've got mythology. It's up there in the 9th house. That North Node Uranus. Pluto's on the cusp. And our mythology has really led us astray. We really think that the guns were common back in the day when we were conquering this land. They weren't. They weren't. They weren't common. They were expensive. They were hard to maintain. And they didn't work that well. Not the gun that the average farmer could afford. No. People didn't eat. People didn't eat that much venison. They ate chicken. So we're talking about a potential for reform. Because remember, back at the heart of the Republican birth was reform. Reform. And these people were anti-slavery. They weren't just opposing the expansion. They were anti-slavery. And this needs to be recovered. This needs to be, this attitude of care needs to be recovered in the Republican Party. We've got a moon Jupiter. Remember, this is a solar chart. We don't really know where that moon is. But I think it's really interesting that they're conjunct to Jupiter. And it's in real good aspect to making the change. You know, the problem with the moon, that the moon conjunct Jupiter there is that the moon is in its fall, and it's in its detriment. and the Jupiter is in its fall. Both of them are happier in Cancer. And anyway, and Chiron right there shows a woundedness and Pallas Athena there. So a woundedness to your heroic nature, to virtually your heroic nature. It's there conjunct Jupiter. There's some work to be done, real basic work to be done. And it has to do with values, and it has to do with recognizing that we don't live up to our mythology, recognizing that Sun-Neptune opposition, recognizing that we are lying to ourselves. So you can see the I call them the crazies, which is kind of insulting because I really do think there's a basis for the Trump supporters. There's a basis for their angst, and it is the Sun-Saturn square in the United States chart. Is that the people, the Sun in Cancer, hate and fear the wonderful and powerful and exalted Saturn in Libra because of that square. And they don't do right by us because of that square. So that square just shows the conflict that was going on in the founding of this nation. There was a real heavy conflict going on, and we're still playing that out. So what I want to say about long-term goals, embrace change. That's where they are now. They have the capacity to do the right thing. You always have the capacity to do the right thing in the chart. So anyway, they're moon phase 11, and they really need to quit being run around by the crazies. That's at Neptune over there. The people who are virtually the one who are going to lose in this coming up change. The people who are going to suffer. At least they're going to suffer if nobody cares. And so they're asking the Republican Party to care. They're actually trying to demand that the Republican... And why people can't vote their own self-interest is beyond me. We always get caught up in ideology. I think that's our Mars-Neptune square in the natal U.S. chart, is getting caught up in mythology and making it more important than the fact that, people need fed, housed, clothed, the children need educated. So I am rambling on. So let me show you the solar return. It's really interesting, and it makes me feel hopeful. I'm having trouble getting it. Okay, the solar return is a moon phase 6, which is, the opposite of the mask of a moon phase 20. It's got the south node in the first house. And that means it doesn't trust anybody else to do what needs to be done. Notice it's ruled by the Jupiter down there in Aquarius of I know best because I'm the smartest one in the house. It's got Saturn there, and Saturn actually rules that Jupiter. So the chart is actually ruled by that Mars over there in Gemini. Make up your mind. Make up your mind. Notice the North Node is over there between the Moon and Mars. When you get a Moon-Mars connection like that, it means surgery, especially the conjunction. It means surgery. And so they're going to have to do some intellectual surgery here. That's the North Node. Whether they will do it, who knows? Who knows? They've got that stellium in Pisces right there along the bottom. In Pisces are the Sun and Venus and Neptune and Mercury and Pallas Athena, if anyone cares. So that Venus and Neptune are leading the sun, and they are Venus. If you look at the good side of them, this is very good. I'm hoping that they'll pay attention to it. But we have unfortunately the Pluto is approaching our own Pluto, and God knows what they'll do because it's a money issue. It's a big money issue, and the Pluto here is at 26. Our natal Pluto is at 27. Yeah, we're having a Pluto return, and that's what this is what it feels like. No, ain't nobody happy. So a moon phase 6 goes too far. Now, I like the node being up there by that Mars because the node tends to bring out the best in you. You know, it's demanding. It's very demanding. And the south node over there is just slip sliding away. And that's a problem with Aquarius. So Jupiter's in Aquarius, and within reach of the our crazy, the United States crazy moon in Aquarius in the 3rd house, and this is in the 3rd house. So we'll see if they can extricate themselves. I think that all that Gemini could refer to a split, because we've got an awful lot of Virgo in the solar return, and Donald Trump is having a lot of Virgo in not in the solar return. I'm sorry, in the progressed chart, and Donald Trump is having a progressed Virgo too. So you know, the connection still stays. This connection still stands, and I think maybe he will, if the Republican Party, if the smart people in the Republican Party can get it together, they can take their party and leave Donald with his. It seems, I mean, they don't want to do that because they're losing power. And six doesn't want to lose power. 6 will go too far, and I can see him going too far. I can see him going too far. Anyway, that's the Republican Party now. I hope that some conservative party survives, and I don't want the Democratic Party to get too cocky, because the Democratic Party has never lived up to its potential. It's never gotten quite off its high horse enough to, well, it's abandoned us in the 70s, and I'm still pissed about that. It used to be well, you know, big business has always owned our government. Always owned our government. And I think that that Pluto return is going to talk about that, because it's in our money house. We're going to talk about this inequity. You can see in the United States chart that we've got a Mercury-Pluto opposition, and that's that's suspicion, and that's expecting that there's nefarious stuff going on, that the Democrats are eating children and stuff like that. Yeah, conspiracy theories is Pluto-Mercury opposition. So I'm hoping that we're all surviving this. I am. I'm doing well. I've got my shots. I'm fairly happy. And unfortunately, one of the problems with the moon phase 14, and I am a 14, is that they can get caught up in the mask. And the mask is very reclusive. And so a 14 can quit interacting out in the world and just go hide someplace where it's more comfortable, and cease growing. Anyway, I hope you're all well, wearing your masks, And telling the people you love that you love them. It's real important to communicate right now. Remember, the North Node is in Gemini. The South Node is in Sagittarius. Don't run on faith. Ask. Find out. Look. And speak up. Anyway, love you. Bye-bye.